robbery. Hands in the sky if you got a dream. Learn nothing was blocking me. I was the problem, the only one stopping me. I didn't like it, I had to refocus. Now I'm devoted, I know where I'm going. Controlling emotions, I'm owning the moment. In order to get it, see, you gotta want it. If you make a living break, confessions over these 808s. Don't sleep on the key, better stay away. I mean, for heaven's sake, I'ma be the best. Came from the endless lane wall games, bitch with the chest. Beating on my chest, trying to get my rest. Watch me while I flex. Every win is a blessing, and every L is a lesson. So when I run into rejection, I know it's only redirection. I see the blessings right beside me. The chances of quitting are likely. I do it like I'm in my Nikes. Don't make excuses, they never excite me. Quitting was never an option.
It's time to duel in Daytona. The online Speedway Racing League Premier Series is back and ready to write the first chapter of its 10th season of competition. Good evening, everyone. I'm Hunter Brittle alongside my good friend Ross Brockman, ready to bring you all the action of the OSRL Premier Series Duels at Daytona live on Split Second Broadcasting, where we will set the field for the first race of the season, the Speedway 200. Ross, first of all, it's good to be back in the booth with you, and secondly, what are we looking for tonight?
Yeah, exciting to be back, and good to hear your voice over there. I'm excited to watch some racing at Daytona, not just this week but next week. So we kick it off with these qualifying duels. I think this will be a good way for us to see who's gonna be the best to master the draft and master this bumpy style of Daytona before we head to the 200 next week. So. Of course, there is some stakes tonight with qualifying in. This is your opportunity to make the show and make sure you can get in. So we'll talk a little bit about that format and highlight the drivers that are just trying to get in. A few drivers on points also will lock in if they aren't able to transfer tonight. But yeah, for some of these new drivers, it's going to be probably a little bit of nerves as they race in these duels.
Yeah, definitely something to watch is the nerves in these duels. You're gonna have to maintain a level of calm and cool to get through these 20 laps. No cautions in these duels, so whatever happens, and we will stay green right to the end. So that you've only got one chance to make a mistake, and otherwise you are going to the back and probably going to be left out high and dry as we set the lineup for next week's Speedway 200, the opening race of the season. Let's take a look at the format to set said starting lineup. Positions 1 and 2, your front row, just like in NASCAR, are determined by qualifying speed. So Jack Painter has secured the pole for next week's Speedway 200. He will start from the pole position no matter where he finishes in the race tonight. Going farther back beyond that, positions 3 through 34, the top 16 in each duel is set by their duel position. You have to be in the top 16 to make the show next week. After that, the bottom 5 are set, or rather the bottom 6 are set by the season 9 points. So if somebody, basically the top 5 in last season's points being William Schmidt, Cole Freilich, I believe Joe Armstrong's in there as well. Those guys all up there are locked into the show. But if they race their way in one of those top 16 spots, then you have to start to look farther back in last year's standings to see who gets to get in, and that will definitely be a topic of conversation as we progress through these 20-lap duels.
And I think that the biggest thing tonight is always just looking at 20-lap race, like you said. No cautions. It might be a little bit calm for some of these drivers because if it's top 16 locking in, the win isn't maybe what you're going for. You might be just looking to make sure that you get in through a position in the duel.
Yeah, I've got the points pulled up from last season. So your top 5 from last season, William Schmidt was your champion. He will definitely, absolutely be locked in to the race, as well as Cole Freilich, Joe Armstrong, Joshua Chin, and John Daniels all finished in the top 5 respectively in points. After that, these guys are going to be the ones relying on those guys to, or not necessarily relying, but it's definitely going to help for the top 5 to finish in a competitive position. Harry Grindell, Mo Perry, Kendall Carpenter, Nolan Sanford, Tristan Baker, who is in duel number 1. He's going to be looking for those guys to try and help his way into the Speedway 200 if he can't make it there on speed alone.
Yeah, we saw qualifying. Jack Painter was able to grab the pole in this duel, which you talked about is going to transfer him all the way into the show. We knew Jack was going to be a guy that was going to make the show no matter what, also just on points. So it's probably a guarantee that he was going to make it. But yeah, he's gonna be able to go race for some fun tonight and not sweat it and ultimately start on the pole in this one.
Yeah, Jack Painter's actually going to be my one to watch for duel number 1 here tonight. Finished second in his duel last season to Cole Freilich. So I think this one here, I mean, Jack's got nothing to lose. He might as well stay up front all night and try and lead as much as he can, him being already locked into the duel. And like you said, he is a prolific speedway racer. You're going to see him having a lot of action throughout the entire season. Let's just go ahead through the rest of the starting lineup as the cars start to roll onto the racetrack here. Jack Painter starting on pole position with Nate Stewart to his outside.
And starting in row number 2, we have Joe Armstrong in that 22 car and Joshua Chin in the 93.
2 more household names in row number 3. Tristan Baker in the 51 lines up 5th, and Griffin Jones to the outside in 6th.
Starting in 7th, the 99 of Nicholas Baldilmick, I'm going with. Braden Mubick on the 42, starting to the outside. We'll have to practice these names first night of the year.
Starting 9th will be Ruby Estes, and to their outside, Ethan Corder. Now, Ethan made a lot of noise in our Summer ARCA series. I expect to see him up front and challenging for position here as we get into the Premier Series season.
Starting outside the top 10, starting 11th at 57 of Michael Deitch. Starting 12th to 49 of Chris Pervolarkis.
The 84 of Andres Varas lines up in the 13th spot with Jamie Ritchie Price to the outside in the 14th position.
Starting 15th is the 52 of Nolan Sanford. Starting 16th, the guy that I think will move forward here, the 17 of Nathan Kiani.
John Felber rolls off from the 17th spot. Look for him to be going forward. A lot of surprise runs from him in the Summer ARCA series, as well as last year in the in season 9 of the Premier Series. So look for the 03 to go forward with Kyle Nadeau to his outside.
Starting 19th, the 22 of Shane Sweeney, and starting 20th, I know OSRL regular number 33, Isaac Johnson.
Isaac's got a lot of ground to cover from that 20th starting spot, but if anybody can do it, it's the driver of that 33 car. Look for him to go forward tonight. I have a lot of faith in that 33 car as we have received the 1-to-go signal. Everybody's passed through their pit boxes just in case we need to pit for damage or anything. Everybody knows where they are pitting, and they are lined up double file, starting to head down the back straightaway towards the first green flag of the Premier Series season.
20 starters here. It really, when you think top 16, if you have an incident in this race, you're potentially going to have, especially a super speedway, if you have, the incidents in a super speedway race typically are a larger group. You could have a battle for that 16th position to transfer in, be amongst drivers that are all just trying to get through the wreck, or even just part of the wreck and trying to finish the race. So a little bit of maybe survival. That's where I think we'll see what kind of feeling this race gives. We kind of joked pre-race or even before the broadcast about when you have these 2 qualifying races, it always seems like one is really exciting, really crazy, and the other one is calm. It's just a matter of which one is what. So we'll see if that trend happens tonight.
Definitely something to watch out for. No cautions in this event as well. So like I said, you've only got one opportunity to make a mistake and try and recorrect it. Otherwise, you are going to lose this pack and not finish well in this race at all. So let's see how this field of 20 drivers handles duel number 1 here as they come down to the start-finish line. Jack Painter will have pole position. Pace car dives onto pit lane, looking for the green flag this time. Green flag is out. We are racing in Daytona. They will be 2 by 2 down to turn number 1. Jack Painter on the inside. Nate Stewart up there on the outside, not going away. He's got help from the 93 of Joshua Chin, trying to power around the outside there as Woo, the 22 of Joe Armstrong, getting a little squirrely. That's going to allow that outside to capitalize. Here comes the run down the back now. Nate Stewart is clear, trying to get Josh Chin clear. Not going to happen. Here comes the bottom once again as they come back into play.
67 did a great job of just getting the start going, but here comes that bottom lane with Painter leading them. I feel like the bottom's maybe the place to be. It just seemed like they just didn't have a very good... Oh, and the 67's already in the wall. Looks like maybe got turned off of a bump draft. That's a great save, even though he probably has some significant damage and was losing all of his track position.
A lot of track position lost for the 67 of Nate Stewart, but he does not lose the draft as Joe Armstrong gets turned in front of the field. Caution flag is out, so I lied. Cautions are on, and Jack Painter manages to get through. It looks like only about 5 cars are going to get through this one without any damage. Jack Painter gets through. Tristan Baker gets through. I believe that's the 57 of Michael Deitch were the top 3 to get through this incident. But Joe Armstrong got turned in front of the field, and mayhem has ensued. Caution flag flies on lap number 2 in duel number 1.
I heard Nolan Sanford jump on the radio and just say he apologized. I'm not sure if he was involved in this incident or part of something else, but yeah, he just jumped on and said, apologized about something. We'll have to see what happened, but I was so focused on the 67 and Nate Stewart going backwards. I kind of didn't really see. I just saw at the front a bunch of smoke, and next thing you know, multiple drivers in the incident.
As we ride up above here, see the 22 of Joe Armstrong has the lead, gets hung out to dry, tries to come out and cover the spot on Joshua Chin, and there's just no room left in the racetrack, and that results in a bunch of cars being wadded up on lap number 2 of this 20-lap duel.
And you wonder what this will do just to the, overall scope of this race. I thought that, pretty aggressive move there to try to go 3 wide, but ultimately just maybe feel this is an opportunity to grab the lead. Like we said, I think this is a race where you're hoping to, at some point, kind of get in a position of just doing some riding and get to the end of this, even though it's just a 20-lap race. But maybe just trying to grab that position early. Armstrong, just up a little bit high, and that might be just, kind of somewhat the lane of this bumpy track. But it just opened the door, and then when he came back down, there was no place to go.
Just running out of room there. He tried to come down, either throwing a block or trying to side draft, knowing he wasn't clear, and try and pinch Josh Chin, trying to maintain any momentum that he would have there. As we've got action on pit road here, Josh Chin gets turned there by the 84 of Andres Varas. I believe that was coming down to his stall, so Chin's going to go even further back in this one after sustaining damage, obviously, from the contact with Armstrong. Wild action already unfolding here in the early laps of duel number 1.
And it's obviously, incidents. You're going to have to fix your car here and just try to get the best finish if you're involved in this race and had significant damage. I'm seeing, I think there's 3 drivers that didn't make a pit stop here on under this yellow. Nathan Kiani was one, Nolan Sanford, and Kyle Nadeau. So I imagine everybody else has got some kind of damage that they're working on, but a lot of drivers gonna have to at least fix some damage. We'll see what maybe happened here. Chin.
We ride on board with Andres Varas going down to his stall. And Josh Chin was just underneath him. Maybe Andres slowed down. or just missed his stall entirely. Not particularly sure what happened there.
Well, I know, Josh Chin, his spot would have been a little bit farther down pit road there, so maybe thinking that maybe he just didn't know where his box was there and was pulling in a little earlier, and that's why he was to the inside there. But that happens sometimes. You don't really know where your pit box is, or you're waiting for another driver, and you lose track of him.
So now here's an interesting note. Joe Armstrong, who obviously got turned in front of the field there, has manually disconnected from the server. So him finishing top 3 in points last year, he will fall back on his championship provisional. And so that takes away a spot from the likes of Harry Grindell, Mo Perry, Nolan Sanford, Tristan Baker, who are going to be trying to race their way in and also keeping an eye on their championship foes from last year. Armstrong taking that provisional takes away one of the spots that those guys could get should that situation arise where they need to where they really do need to race their way in should the top 5 not make it.
I just want to shout out Nathan Kiani. I said during the grid that he was the guy that I was looking to see move forward, and here we are, lap 5. He got to the lead, not the way he probably thought he was going to get there, but yeah, he's been able to, obviously just starting the back, was able to just avoid that incident and inherit the lead with all those drivers pitting to fix damage. So 17 of Kiani gonna lead the field here with the 52 of Nolan Sanford, who started back there with him, just a spot or two in front of him. Both these guys moving up 12, 13, 14 plus spots just in that incident.
Well, in a 20-lap super speedway race, you take the positions where you can get them, and obviously this one's too short to necessitate pit stops unless you have damage, like a vast majority of cars had to come down and repair during that last pit stop. So Nathan Kiani, Nolan Sanford, Kyle Nadeau making the right moves to get them up towards the front. Can they stay there for the remaining 15 or so laps? So many questions to be answered here as the field is double filed back up once again. Pace car dives hard left down onto pit lane. Kiani's looking for the green flag. He's got it, and he will be away with a shot. He's going to have a car length gap over top of Nadeau there as they get off into turn 1 down out of the tri-oval.
We saw that bottom lane on the initial start just kind of not really get organized and get started very well, but this time Kiani is the one to jump out and get away, and here comes that 55, going to jump to his outside with the run.
Ooh, big bump there, and around goes Kiani. He's going to spin down harmlessly out of harm's way. And we will stay green because he's not on the racing surface. Single car incident. Nathan Kiani gets dumped down the back by that was an accordion effect from, I think, 3 cars back. They had a head of steam, and that's what I was worried about when he got that jump off of the green flag and got hung out to dry there. All the momentum came right back up behind him, and it comes back to bite him for staying out on during that last caution. Is now we've got 3 wide racing up here. Woo, big block. Josh Chen gets blocked all the way down by Nolan Sanford. He's going to get to his inside. They're going to be side by side when they get back down the back straightaway here.
Chen was to his inside pretty much when the block was made, and a great job by both of them to hold on to it. A very aggressive move for both of them, and luckily they're both able to hold on to it. Sanford going to lead this thing with, looks like Richie Price is going to be to his inside 3 wide.
Yep, Jamie Richie Price, they're now leading that inside. I'll call it a tandem in the middle there with Josh Chin, who got hung out by the leaders in his evasive maneuvers. Now you got Ethan Corder down there leading that bottom lane, really just hugging that bottom, not leaving it at all. You saw him hang out Josh Chin to maintain those 2 left side tires on that yellow line. Is now Braden Movick comes up to cover all 3 lanes. Which lane will he block? Here comes Nolan Sanford to give him a bump. Just a light kiss down the back straightaway here as both of those cars have cleared the 3-wide battle for third.
We've seen these bumps kind of really cause our two incidents up near the front, and part of it is just momentum, just in bad spots. But ultimately, this car is somewhat new for some of these drivers. Obviously, they've run some races in it, but just trying to learn where the lineup of the bumpers are. Is the 818 of Quarter here going to look to the inside of Movic and take the lead?
Yep, he's making that bottom lane, that tried and true shortest way around the racetrack work. Now with a good push from Jamie Ritchie-Price, gets that nose out in front. But here comes Movic. Solo car power around the outside. He will stick a nose out in front down the back straightaway. But here comes the tandem of Quarter and Ritchie-Price down the back, down on the bottom lane there. Now Josh Chin has joined the party. Now make it 2x2 as they head off into turn number 3.
And Movic has been very aggressive up on that outside lane. Seems like he almost runs the outside lane down the straightaway just to give himself get away from everybody else, and then keeps the momentum going through the corners, and it's worked. I saw him up on that outside on that initial run before our first caution, and here he's bringing this whole line up to the top right now. Really interesting to see these drivers run the top lane and try to almost keep their momentum up.
Look at John Felber now dive to the inside. This line of group of 4 cars here made a beeline on that top side. Then they all got clear of the whole pack, and now John Felber ducks to the inside trying to get up towards the lead there. He's got the 84 of Andres Varas there to try and help him, but now here comes Movic to come down and cover the spot. Where does Ethan Quarter go now as the pack has recaught that front group of cars? He'll like to push Josh Chin to the lead. Josh Chin leads at the line, halfway to go in duel number 1.
And it just seems like even though we saw those drivers able to pull away a little bit, the pack just kind of rubber bands back together. Here comes Quarter, going to look to the inside of Chin. I think a lot of these drivers just trying to, go out there and lead, maybe even just learn the style of racing that they're going to have to battle here and next week. But yeah, they're going aggressive, which we love to see. This is really tight racing, and we're going to have one spin.
That's the 22, the other 22 of Shane Sweeney. Hard damage to the front of that car as well. Braden Movic gets turned into the outside wall, and I believe that's the 51 of Tristan Baker with damage as well. As we look on board with a destroyed hood up, and he's not even in pit lane. Shane Sweeney, he will limp that car around. Caution flag flies on lap 12 of duel number 1. Second caution flag of the race.
Yeah, I think that, on the backstretch we saw they were all kind of getting, it was just tightened up the whole pack up on that outside lane, and almost like a little bit of side drafting, just trying to hold position. And then, the momentum off the backstretch going into the corner. Looked like the 84 decided to make a pass, and it just kind of, it looks like the 22, just kind of getting back and forth. And once you kind of hit doors like that, it's just kind of easy to bounce off each other a couple times. And when you're trying to save it, sometimes the other car hitting you just out of control can send your car out of control.
Yeah, these cars are not hard to get up out of shape with how trimmed out they are for speed at this 2.5 mile super speedway. So one little tap, and you've seen it now for the second time. Winds up with 3 more cars as we get another onboard look at it. Shane's trying to save it, and unfortunately, Braden Movic is the car that he overcorrects down into and sends him spinning down into, I believe that's Tristan Baker there, like I said, in the 51. Almost gets flipped up into the outside wall there. Heavy contact. These front super speedway bumpers on these cars, you'd think that with them being flatter, it'd be easier to push. And you can get a little bump in there, but it's not going to take much as we ride on board with Shane Sweeney. And the hood's already up, and you get the exact same view that he's got. Can't see anything other than carnage out the back.
Talked about the, under that last caution, the up and down kind of moments for Nathan Kiani. He went, started in the back, moved up to restart from the lead after that caution. Now same thing with Chin and Varas are up here after their issues the last caution. So up and down night for a lot of these drivers. We get one more look at this incident. Go for a ride here. Not easy once you start crashing to have any chance to save it in these big wrecks at a super speedway like Daytona.
Especially in these high banked corners where you're just going so fast, it's almost impossible to try and save, especially with how. I mean, just look at how sideways Sweeney was. I mean, to have even saved that car with a clean track would have been a whale of an effort. I don't know if he could have done it with nobody around, much less half a racetrack in the middle of that pack that he was racing in. But going back to what you were talking about earlier with the ups and downs, this is the bailout that Nathan Chiani needed, as he was way off the pace there after getting sent down earlier in the green flag run down into the grass. So he will regain track position and catch up to the field here and still have a shot to win this thing.
And it'll be fun to see what these drivers are going to have a little bit of a shootout here to end this with looking like about 6 laps to go. You always think like, well, the countdown laps, the less laps, the more aggressive the drivers are. But they've all been pretty aggressive, giving us a show tonight, and ultimately driving these cars right to the edge, which has been fun to watch. Some really awesome moves in the draft, and big almost slingshot moves to take the lead, which is fun to watch.
Well, realistically, I mean, you want to figure out the limit of what you can push the car to do, how hard you can hit that car in front of you to not spin them out, but keep them pointed straight and get as much momentum as possible to give you that edge over that inside or outside lane that you're racing against. And this is the race to find those limits here. As an interesting point, Ruby Estes holds the last transfer spot or the last solid transfer spot, I'll say. Points finish depending. But Ruby Estes currently scored in 16th, 1 lap down. And it looks like they're going to have that race solidly wrapped up because the other 3 cars scored behind are Shane Sweeney, Chris Pervalarkis, and Joe Armstrong, who are all 2 or more laps down and have no chance of coming back. So at this point, Ross, it's go where you want to and see what the car can do.
Yeah, and
try and figure it out.
Some bragging rights for a winner. So ultimately, someone's gonna win this race and get the chance to talk to us. So we'll see what they do for a chance to win.
Pace car dives on a pit road. Andres Varas has the field in his control. He elects the outside lane and gets away with a good shot here and brings the 03 of John Felber up alongside Josh Chin to battle for that second place spot. Outside lane got a lot more cars, or rather, their 3 cars in front are hooked up a lot better. Now Felber and Varas are out front. Do they come down to block the advances of the inside lane? No, they stay up top here and try to drag race it down the back. Woo, scary moment there off of turn number 2.
It just seems kind of a back and forth. Some of these drivers just trying to hold on to their cars, and Felber there gave us a little bit of a scare. Nice job by Quarter here to push Chin out to the lead. They kind of 2-car tandem here to take over the lead and even pull a little bit of a gap to third.
Yeah, I heard some of the drivers talking about the two-car tandem in practice. It is a viable strategy to get up out there. We'll have to see if the pack can reel them back in, though, as it looks like they will, as now Varas pulls right back up to the back bumper of Ethan Quarter, who is glued to the tail of Josh Chin. As now Jamie Ritchie Price gets sent down on the apron, manages to hang on to it. Will he lose the draft? It looks like he will.
Nice save either way to keep that car underneath him and keep this race going. So it kind of single filed out the front pack here. We see Chiani now down to the inside, trying to move up using that bottom lane. You have Nolan Sanford pushing him, gonna bring those guys up to the top 3 here.
Boy, from the back to the front to the back to the front again for Nathan Kiani as we come by 17 laps completed. Or rather, sorry, 16 laps completed in Daytona, and Josh Chin comes down to cover the spot now, so Nathan Kiani will be to his back bumper as they go through 1 and 2. Braden Movick trying to make some noise, making a resurgence on that outside lane on the back bumper of Ethan Corder, who's going to have a monster run here down the back. Elects to just push Josh Chin instead of ducking back in line here, as now Nolan Sanford's down on the apron, slow off the pace. Does he keep with the draft? We'll have to see as he gets back up onto the back surface. But up at the front, Josh Chin continues to hold serve now, as now Tristan Baker is the leader on that inside lane, trying to make a push and break the stranglehold that the 93's got on this field.
It just looked like maybe Sanford got a push from Stewart on the backstretch that just kind of upset his car and sent him back. So now it's you see Baker up there, up to second. Movick, we've seen him running that top lane. Haven't really seen him on the bottom yet, either middle or top lane, pretty much this whole race. I think he's definitely going to be a guy to contend with this win. He looks to the inside of Chin. He's going to take it 3 wide, and they're going to push Chin out.
Yeah, Josh Chin gets hung out to dry there on the outside. Braden Movick now, after being involved in that last wreck, has had a Phoenix-esque resurgence. Back to the front here, contending with Tristan Baker there on the bottom side. Braden Movick's going to lead at the line. 2 laps to go this time.
Just going to try to set themselves up to give them the best shot in that final lap. You know, we've seen this pack kind of get separated a little bit and then rejoin. Right now it's kind of separated. You kind of wonder if, I mean, there's not a lot of cars left in this main pack. Do they come back together? As here comes Stewart now in that 67. We haven't talked a lot about him. He's going to have a chance here to look to the inside of Corder and race with Movick.
Kiani's going to go with him here down on the bottom. Corder tries to get down and side draft and stall that run. It looks like it's going to work for now as Corder gets back to the back bumper of Braden Movick. White flag is out. 1 lap to go here at Daytona in duel number 1. Braden Movick holding serve on the top side, but the pair of Nate Stewart and Nathan Kiani there on the bottom trying to make it happen all by themselves now as the back of the field has caught back up here. Andres Verras to the back bumper of Josh Chin. Can they make a run as John Felber looks to the inside?
It's just a matter of where these runs come from. I think right now Movick getting a great push from Corder. You just wonder, 2-car tandem, can they pull away here? Now Corder gets disconnected. It might not give him a chance to have a run back to the line.
Oh, but here comes the pack. Now Tristan Baker hangs out Corder. Is it going to be enough of a run on the bottom side? Movick covers the top side. He covers the bottom, and Braden Movick is going to take duel number 1 as they spin and crash behind. What a show from Braden Movick to come from being involved in the most recent accident to come back and win duel number 1.
And ultimately, just am I seeing Movick as like our scoring is kind of off here? I keep seeing he was up near the front here, but I'm kind of questioning. We're seeing Corder here. I don't know. Was he? I don't know. It's weird with our scoring, but I'm showing Corder is also the winner. So I don't know if there was something an issue there with Movick or what.
And we're going to have to go back and look at timing and scoring here. But currently, you're right, Ross. Ethan Corder being shown. Did Braden Movick have a black flag?
Trying to listen in as they're discussing here, but Corder is celebrating. So congratulations to him. I don't know. We'll have to get a clarification on what happened with Movick. It's showing that he's a lap down. So yeah, I don't know if that would have been a black flag late that caused him to have that problem or what. But yeah, what a crazy ending. I was thinking about Corder. He probably was learning a little bit there as far as how to pass the 42, but I kind of was thinking, well, maybe at the time he knew that if I just push him out, I can still win this race because the 42 somehow was not eligible.
Yeah, but how would you know that?
We didn't. I guess maybe Mubik was maybe a lap down. I don't know if at one point pitting how that would have worked, but yeah, congrats to Quarter. Nice job to the idea of the tandem to just push a car that ultimately doesn't have a chance to win. Not a bad move. Not always going to be available to a driver contending for a win.
Well, if that's the case, I apologize to all our viewers out there for a completely botched call at the end to bring it home. Congratulations to Ethan Quarter for winning. I am so sorry, Ethan, to call that incorrectly. But so Ethan Quarter will start in position number 3 for the Speedway 200. And we will now let's take you through a rundown on your finishing positions here in duel number 1, and then we'll cut away for a quick break and come back for duel number 2. Ethan Quarter is your winner of duel number 1. Tristan Baker finishes 2nd. Nathan Kiani 3rd. Josh Chin 4th. Jack Painter 5th. Andres Varas 6th. John Felber comes home in the 7th spot. Nate Stewart 8th. Griffin Jones 9th. And Nolan Sanford rounds out the top 10.
In the back half of this duel with Jamie Ritchie Price coming home in 11th. Nicholas Baldemolik. I got to make sure I get that one right. Michael Deitch in the 57. There's Braden Muvik coming home in 14th after we thought he won. Ruby Estes in 15th. Kyle Nadeau 16th. Shane Sweeney, Joe Armstrong, Chris Pervolarkis, and Isaac Johnson. All these drivers involved in that early crash that we had. A couple incidents in this race that ultimately slowed the race a couple times, but to our understanding, we also learned during that race, we were talking about the battle to get into the show with 20 starters in both duels and 40 starters in the show next week. It's going to lock everybody in unofficially, so we feel pretty confident in that. So that's it'll be nice to just see where these guys are battling for their starting spot for next Thursday night's 200 mile race.
Well, perfect. We'll be back with after a short break to re-rack and restack for duel number 2. Stay with us, everybody. We'll be back soon.
sky if you got a dream. Learn nothing was blocking me. I was the problem, the only one stopping me. I didn't like it, I had to refocus. Now I'm devoted, I know where I'm going. Controlling emotions, I'm owning the moment. In order to get it, see, you gotta want it. Flow make a living break. Confessions over these 808s. Don't sleep on the key, better stay away. I mean, for heaven's sake, I'ma be the best. Came from the endless lane walk games, bitch with the chest. Beating on my chest, trying to get my rest. Watch me while I flex. Every win is a blessing, and every L is a lesson. So when I run into rejection, I know it's only redirection. I see the blessings right beside me. The chances of quitting are likely. I do it like I'm in my Nikes. Don't make excuses, they never excite me. Quitting was never an option.
Welcome back to Split Second Broadcasting's coverage of the OSRL Speedway 200 Duels at Daytona, getting set for duel number 2 here. During that short break, we had time to regroup and rediscuss. So Braden Mubbock was in fact not your winner from last race. We apologize for the errant call on that one, and congratulations to Ethan Corder on his duel number 1 win. We've also confirmed that everyone who is in both duels will make the race, regardless of finishing position. We do not have enough entries to warrant sending anybody home, so everybody will make the main event who races here tonight. And so you're basically just racing for bragging rights at this point, and starting position in next week's Speedway 200. As we look now down at the field, getting set and ready to roll off for duel number 2, Cole Freilich is going to be your pole sitter for duel number 2, which means he will line up in the outside pole position for the Speedway 200 next week. His starting spot is the only one that is already set in stone in this duel number 2. Everyone else will be fighting, and where they finish will determine where they start in the outside lane for the Speedway 200. Ross, what are we expecting in this one? Do you think it's going to be just as hectic or more or less this go round?
Well, like we said in that last duel we talked about, there always seems to be one that's a little crazier and then one that's maybe a little more calm. I guess I would lean more calm, but also because we know what's on the line and it's not much, it's really just bragging rights, some opportunity to learn. I think we're gonna have another great race. I think there'll be a lot of aggressive racing, aggressive drafting, the slingshots to grab the lead, and going from top to bottom to top with the banking here. It was really fun to watch in that last duel, and I hope we get to see more of it in this one. So hopefully we keep the field together. We kind of lost a little bit of the cars just in the incidents in that first duel, so it'd be nice to have a larger pack just to see how that shapes up, especially knowing that next Thursday we'll have a full field out there. So maybe we'll see a little bit more of that and give these drivers a chance to learn and add some things to the notebook for next week.
Yeah, I definitely expect a lot of aggressive moves like you saw in that last one. We talked about it in duel number 1. This is really the opportunity, especially now that nobody's going home. This is the opportunity to find that limit. Unfortunately, it might be at the expense of the car in front of you, the car behind you, the car beside you, or yourself. But such is the nature of this super fast, super hectic, super speedway racing here with these Gen 4 cars, with the super speedway bumpers. You can bump in these, it's just not a whole lot. As we saw in duel number 1, guys will get sent spinning down to the inside or up into the outside wall very, very easily. It's a fine line you got to walk with these high-powered cars here around this 2.5-mile speedway.
And it's just a little bit of a survival game we saw in that first one. Obviously, the drivers that were able to avoid the wrecks, or at least that first big one, had a chance to battle it out at the end. Even some of them that were in that first wreck were able to work on damage and get back out there.
As the field starts to roll off of pit road, let's go ahead and get the lineup for duel number 1. Cole Freilich, as previously mentioned, last season's championship runner-up, with a number change this year, going from the 15 to the 83 car this season. He rolls off in position number 1 with Spencer Ray in the number 9 car, who was outside, starting second.
Row 2, we have the 43 of Jacob Wilkerson, starting to his right, the number 50 of Max Swearingen.
Caden Reif rolls off from the 5th spot with Kendall Carpenter, another championship favorite here, sporting a new paint this season, rolling off from the 6th spot.
Starting 7th, one of those OSRL regulars in the 31 of Mo Perry, and then to his right, the 06 of Brett Bennett.
Emery Spence lines up in the 9th spot with Corey Rexford to the outside, rounding out the top 10.
Starting 11th is the 40 of Michael Kruger, and then starting 12th, you're not supposed to have favorites, but one of my favorites in this league is the 70 of Harry Grindell.
John Daniels rolls off from the 13th spot in the 02, another OSRL regular, with Cade McKee to the outside in 14th.
Trey Patton will start in the 15th spot in that 01 car, and then starting 16th, the 36 of Dalton Geyer.
Isaac Johnson in the 33 rolls off from the 17th spot with Steven Gibson to the outside in position number 18.
Starting 19th, I'm gonna try this one. The 18 of John Szulwiski, and starting 20th, the 79 of William Schmidt, always a contender in these OSRL races.
And then I'm pretty sure the back 3 cars here are admins that are just in the session. Griffin Jones, Jack Painter, Nathan Kiani. If you see them on the scoring pylon, that is why. They're just in the session to be admins. They're not actually racing in this event. But that will set your lineup. 20 cars to go do battle here for 20 laps at Daytona to set the outside lane for the Speedway 200. And my one to watch for this race is going to be William Schmidt. Last year's champion, didn't qualify for this event in outright in speed. So starting from the back, look for that 79 car, to head to the front early on and quickly. William Schmidt's got a lot of speed at any track that OSRL goes to. Look for a lot of moves out of that 79 car.
For sure. We saw it in that first race. You don't have it don't matter where you start in this duel with just 20 cars. You can make up ground pretty quick, whether it's under caution or even just in the pack once they get spread out a little bit and make those moves. So it'll be fun to watch some of these drivers that are in the back that are going to be trying to move to the front and see if these drivers that have the track position to start this race, if they can hold on to it. We'll see if we see some more of those tandem racing. A lot of these drivers, they got a chance to watch that first one and learn maybe a little bit, see what was working, and now it's their chance to give it a try.
Yeah, if you can time that tandem link up right, I think that's going to be the key to victory here as we start to bear down on the front straightaway for duel number 2. Pace car is going to dive down into pit lane. Cole Freilich will have the field in his control. The green flag is out. We are racing in duel number 2 here in Daytona. Everybody nice and orderly here as we head off into turn number 1. Freilich on the bottom side. Spencer Ray up there in the 9 car on the top side. Everybody staying in lockstep with each other as they head through turns number 1 and 2 down the back straightaway. They go this time still side by side. Now Spencer Ray gets a nose out in front.
A nice little push here on that outside lane to kind of get clear. We'll see if they can pull away. This pack is staying together a little bit better, maybe for this at least for this initial start here as they all come off of turn 4.
Ray comes down to cover the spot, now goes back up to block the outside lane once again. Now back to the bottom now to cover off Cole Freilich. Spencer Ray leads lap number 1 here in duel number 2. Heading off into turn number 1 now. Does the outside lane now have a chance to regroup and try and go back after Ray, who has left them high and dry. Now it looks like they're starting to fall backwards as now Freilich dives to the outside. He's going to take the 43 of Jacob Wilkerson with him, and Spencer Ray's going to slide back into the clutches of the 98 of Caden Reif.
And it just kind of killed the momentum of Spencer Ray leading that pack on the bottom. And when you have two drivers behind you pull out to pass you, it just changes the obviously the speed of your line, but it's really regrouped here for Ray to battle back here on the inside and have a chance to maybe not lead this lap, but at least contend for the lead here for this next lap.
Yeah, Caden Reif's going to be another one to watch too. Finished second in a duel in his duel last year. Got wrecked out early in last season's Speedway 200s. Didn't really get to show his talents much, but that 98 car definitely one to watch here, as he is now continuing to be all over the back bumper of the 9 car of Spencer Ray down the back straightaway, trying to fight off the advances of Freilich and Wilkerson there on the top side.
And this is maybe a little bit more of what we kind of thought we would see in that first duel, but then when we had those incidents, it got rid of a large amount of the cars. So now it does become somewhat of a track position game, because you can see a lot of these drivers that are up front, they're able to hold on to the position and stay there, where guys like Isaac Johnson and William Schmidt, who are more towards the back right now, are not moving up as quickly as some of those other guys had that opportunity in the last duel.
Yeah, William Schmidt still hanging out at the back of the pack here. I expected him to get a move on earlier on and try and reclaim some spots and climb back up to the front, but still just hanging out there at the back of the pack, as now Wilkerson now has assumed the race lead. He hung out. Freilich up on the top side, immediately dove to the bottom, and now Spencer Ray is going to do the crossover on him and go back to the top side here. Now Ray and Freilich are up on the top side with Wilkerson and Reif down there on the bottom. They will be side by side back across the line and down into turn number 1.
It's kind of this 2x2. One line gets separated, and then the two drivers that separate themselves start to racing, and then it kind of reforms. So ultimately, a different style of racing so far a little bit with these drivers, not as many big runs, but right now Spencer Ray and Cole Freilich here on the outside, it seems to be working. They're going to grab the lead back. Ray going to go down a little bit to the bottom here and give Freilich the opportunity to get to his outside. It's going to give up the lead there. So kind of interesting move by Ray. I obviously some big bumps there down the backstretch, maybe thinking that he doesn't want to be in front of that 80.
That allows... We've got one in a round in the back there. Caution flag is out. The 21 car of Steven Gibson. I talked about him in the pre-race show, looking to get up in this pack and try and contend for the win here. But he gets sent spinning down the back straightaway. Contact with the outside wall. Caution flag is out on lap number 6 of duel number 2. Let's see if we can get you a replay.
Yeah, not sure what. Let's see here, 3 wide. Isaac Johnson was in the middle there. I don't know if he came up and got the 21 or what caused that.
Daytona is a pretty narrow track for 3 wide racing. It can be done, as we've seen in the pros and we've seen in this series already. But it is certainly nothing like Talladega here. It looks like, that's some net code there. It's hard to see where a car is in front of you if you can't see him at all. Unfortunately, Steven Gibson has to go around after blinking out of the service.
And ultimately, we saw some battling here with, like we said, it's tough to look in front of you and see all that double wide racing, and it kind of just is a matter of waiting to see if things happen, sometimes you get a little impatient and you go to the 3 wide, and with the bumpiness of this track, it can be a little tough to hold your line and not understand where other people are, especially if there's a connection issue that pops up in there too, of course. But yeah, that's a tough break for a couple drivers that we thought would have a chance to contend here tonight.
That is a good point, Ross. This is the old Daytona, the pre-repave Daytona. You can see it in the corners when these cars go over. A lot of bumps, makes it really hard to hang on to in these corners. It's not just a put your foot down and keep it glued to the bottom, like you see at the current at the current scan of Daytona or even Talladega, where it's nice and smooth. There are a lot of bumps on this track that can upset these cars really easily, especially if you're 3 wide like that. So definitely something to watch for when we get back up to speed here and going through these corners.
We had a few drivers on pit road, just I mean, obviously a couple maybe have a little bit of damage, but ultimately just maybe fixing a little bit of that damage and getting back in there. No one, I don't think, officially out yet. It looks like Steven Gibson working on some significant damage for a little while here. We'll see if he's able to get back out there, but gonna probably get one to go this time by and try restarting this. It looked like Freilich seemed to be the one to kind of do a great job of pushing drivers up to the lead, but then late in that run there was able to grab the lead himself. So an interesting. It'll be fun to see what he does with maybe these drivers pushing him now, and see how his ability to run the draft as he was earlier in this race by pushing, by having somebody else push him.
Yeah, the runs in these cars and this field's been doing a good job of showing it. You can't just sit back in line, and when you get back up to the bumper of the guy in front of you, you just gotta take the run for what it is. These cars aren't gonna stall out like the next gen cars are. You will have that run, and a lot of times will clear the car in front. And we've seen a lot of back and forth here tonight. It's been some good action early on in duel number 2 here, as it looks like we're gonna go back to green. Right at the halfway point. It'll be 11 laps to go, or rather, sorry, 10 laps to go when we get back racing here as the field double files up for the final pace lap.
And with Kendall Carpenter and Harry Grindel, we haven't really talked about either of them, but they're both up here now. Grindel was able to pick up 9 positions during those first 8 laps, so a nice job moving through the field, even though it's been a little tough. But and then Carpenter up just a couple spots. We haven't really seen him lead the pack, but ultimately running up in that top 6.
Yeah, Grindel really picked and chose his lanes really well to get him already up into the 4th spot here when they re-rack and restack and get to green here. So a good showing from Harry Grindel to get up into this top 4 and have a go at it right at draw a bead on Cole Freilich there, who will be leading the race when we go back to green there. And then Max Swearingen as well there on the bottom side. Not a guy that we've talked a whole lot about, but right there before the caution flag came out, he was right there making a charge for the lead. So definitely another car to keep an eye on here when we go back racing.
See what happens on this restart. We saw so many times in that first race where that bottom lane kind of took off to start. Freilich choosing the outside, so that gives this outside lane just a little bit of a head start here as far as when they get to go here. We'll see what happens and see what line gets the best jump on this start.
Pace card makes the hard left-hand turn down pit lane. Cole Freilich has the field in his control from the outside lane. A good bump there from the inside. It's going to try and keep Swearingen right there with Freilich. Nothing doing. Freilich looks like he'll have the advantage with a good push from Harry Grindel to get out front as they barrel off into turn number 1.
The one up there, the third on the outside, Cade McKee. First time we've talked about him tonight. He's able to get up there with these these other two that are pushing this top lane. The tandem's going between both front runners on these lines right now. Looks like Freilich and Grindel are going to be the better tandem, at least entering turn 3.
Well, they've got better help in the form of Cade McKee there, sitting back in third. You see how the 9 of Spencer Ray's a little bit off of Kendall Carpenter's bumper, and that was what was keeping that top side there out in front just a little bit, as now the tandem of Grindel and Freilich gets hooked up, and Freilich will easily control that lap, or lead that lap. Halfway to go that time by the line, but here comes that bottom lane with Swearingen. Oh, now he's lost his help now as the 9 of Spencer Ray and Kendall Carpenter get side by side. That's going to allow that outside lane to just power away. 3 cars now clearing themselves of the lead pack. Make it 4 with Caden Rife. And
this 3-wide battle really just kind of give way to a couple of these drivers we talked about in the back. William Schmidt, Isaac Johnson, both up on that outside lane. Once you're able to get 3 wide, it really kind of separates everybody, gets this opportunity to gain some track position. The top lane really organized right now. But Spencer Ray still leading that bottom lane, not giving up on it. And I think they're going to have at least get back up to about third here entering turn 1. But I imagine if you're Cole Freilich, we saw him do this at Daytona in previous seasons, being able to go up there, control the lead, control the pack from the lead. I think that's his goal right now, and hoping to hold on to it.
Freilich's got a good hold on this outside lane that have absolutely been ripping the fence for the last 2 or so laps. As now that bottom lane draws even now with Harry Grindel there in the second lane. They're making a charge back up to contend for this. Not going to lie down and let Cole Freilich take it there as we get back to the line. Freilich leads that lap, 8 laps to go.
And a great job by Spencer Ray for not giving up on this bottom, just ultimately making it work. I feel like it'll work out in the end. At some point, this package just tends to get you, too wide and battling. It just kind of lends itself to that. So if you lose some ground, ultimately, if you have help, you'll get back up there. And here he's going to have a chance to battle for the lead here. Coming to 7 to go, and even going to take the lead here. We'll see what Wilkerson does if he decides to try to make the pass on the outside. He will jump to the outside and try to battle for this lead.
If you get a window on that other lane, you got to take it. I've already said it, and now Wilkerson does just that. He will lead that lap with Cole Freilich right at his back bumper, and that will cycle now 2 new contenders down there on that bottom lane in Trey Patton and John Daniels now sitting in 3rd and 4th on the bottom side, as now Cole Freilich goes back to the bottom to cover off the spot from Spencer Ray. Now back to the top. Elevator moves. Freilich blocking everybody.
And a great job to lose that spot and then ultimately get it right back. Nice job by Freilich to do that, and that's a kind of a perfect move. Ultimately, you're kind of no defense to that, to the move to lose the spot, but a great job of setting it back up. Now we're going to go 3 wide with Grindel going in the middle.
And he's still going to take it to the middle. 3 wide on Spencer Ray and Wilkerson now. Freilich, the lone car out front. Which lane does he go with? Now he goes with the top this side. Wilkerson ducks back out to take the spot. Dives down to the bottom. Look at the run that he's going to get. We're going to got a car in the wall in the back. That's Mo Perry, who's going to go back and probably lose the draft. But up front, here comes Cole Freilich back on the outside with help from McKee. They're on the outside.
And now Wilkerson's going to have to work with Grindel here to try to get some momentum going. We've seen Spencer Ray kind of move back now that a couple drivers have jumped down in front of him, but that bottom lane still works, and they slowly move their way back up to the lead. Wilkerson just seems like him and Grindel right now are just a little bit better organized as far as the tandem compared to Freilich and McKee.
But don't look now, just as fast as the field lost its 3 wide, now they're coming back here in the form of Isaac Johnson taking it up the middle in between Caden Rife and in the 9 of Spencer Ray. Now, what does he have to say about going up through the middle, trying to contend with these boys here for the win, as we've got 5 laps to go in duel number 2. Look at the push that the bottom lane's going to get now as Freilich's all by his lonesome. Now he gets the help from Isaac Johnson there in the middle. Is it going to be enough to keep him alongside of Wilkerson? For the time being, it will be so. They'll be side by side when they get back to the line. 4 laps to go.
Nice job by Isaac Johnson to just, jump on the back bumper of Freilich here and go to the front. Brett Bennett up on that outside in that 06, not a driver we've talked much about tonight. Gonna have a chance here. He got a little close to the 9 of Spencer Ray there, but ultimately it kind of slowed those guys' momentum down and gave that top lane a little bit better of a gap here. We'll see. Now Bennett's gonna look to the inside and gonna try to battle for the. Looks like he's gonna fall back a little bit.
League newcomer Brett Bennett trying to take the fight to the regulars down on the bottom side. He got clear and he took the space, and now it looks like he's going to have some help now as Rife is to his back bumper as well as Spencer Ray. They're lined up down on the bottom. They've got three laps to try and run down that top side. Do they have enough time? As here comes William Schmidt up the middle.
And it's just I imagine if you're Isaac Johnson, you're probably thinking, I'm okay with this. Let's get to the final lap. We got a stack up here. That's gonna.
Oh, there goes the field. Kendall Carpenter got to the outside wall, couldn't save it, got down into contact with, I believe, the 70 of Harry Grindell, and around goes everyone in front of the field. Caution flag is out, and we're gonna have a shootout to decide duel number 2 when we get them all re-racked and restacked. You had to know it would come, that boiling point would come to a head, Ross.
Yeah, just big blocks, and ultimately, maybe not big blocks, but just that kind of the battle we saw in the first duel, where it's just it's really easy when you get side by side. You get one person maybe just a little squirrely because of the bumps, and sometimes you almost bounce off each other a little bit, and it's so hard to save it. So. And we'll have to take a look here and see. It's always tough to put fault on anybody in a super speedway incident. It's just a lot of close quarters racing that this can sometimes cause an incident.
As we look back at our replay now, you can already see them bouncing off of each other. Brett Bennett's involved. Swearingen's involved. As you see Harry Grindell spinning down through the grass. A lot of good cars in this one. Gets it spinning. I don't know if there was a whole lot of damage per se. It didn't look like a whole lot of heavy contact. As we ride on board with Swearingen here, who's going to have a good view of it. They're already loosened up in front and just gets tagged by Bennett. Almost makes it through, and he saved it. See, that's what I'm talking about, Ross. He saved it. Prevented a lot of damage to that car. He was pointed at the outside wall. A great save from the driver of that 50 car.
Yeah, and we talked about it. A little bit of survival in this race. You'll get if you're able to survive and at least finish it, you'll probably start in the upper half of the field next Thursday night. So I think ultimately Brett Bennett made a kind of a bigger block there, and ultimately there's no issue with it. You're coming down with just a couple laps to go, just trying to stop the momentum. But I think what it did is it kind of just stacked everybody up behind him. And then you see the 20 of Carpenter kind of got tagged, and then ultimately just grabbed Bennett from the front of that pack that we're all racing. So I think it was just kind of a chain reaction from the block. We saw that, and then ultimately just nowhere for everybody to go as they were trying to navigate it once they were all spinning.
Boy, Trey Patton had a heavy hit there, came barreling into that wreck, right into the back bumper, lifted the wheels up off the ground of that 70 car of Harry Grindell. So that will be a lot of damage to that 70 car to have to repair before we get back going green for the first of 3 green-white checkers we have in the OSRL series. Boom, what a hit for Trey Patton there. You can see the roof or the hood all crinkled up. Really surprised it didn't just fly up into the windshield like we've seen so many times tonight.
Yeah, we talk about track position, and obviously I was mentioning that Freilich, we kind of figure, he's going to maybe just try to control this race and be up near the front. And sometimes, I look at these races and I think I maybe don't want to be up there in that chaos and have your life on the line for so many laps up near the front. I like to maybe ride in the back. That's more my style. But this style of racing really works to get up there and try to control the race. We think about the 6 drivers I'm looking at right now: Freilich, Johnson, McKee, Schmidt, Ray, Wilkerson, they've all had moments up near the front, and most of the time, for probably 90% of this race, have been up near the front. So sometimes if you're able to get up there and control the race a little bit, and then also if you trust the guys you race around and the drivers you race around, you can potentially feel pretty comfortable up there. And then when the incident happens, like it just did, it's behind all these guys. So ultimately, the strategy that is working, I think that's the strategy next week too. When you get a field of 40 drivers out there, you're gonna want to be able to control the race, stay up front, especially with potential for a long run in there. So. Ultimately, that's what we're seeing work tonight for at least in this duel here with these front runners all kind of holding on to the lead.
The back half of the field, pretty much pit right there to come down and either fix damage or refill on fuel, get new tires, whatever they need, whatever they think they need for the final run to the checkered here. Like I said, we got 3 attempts at a green-white checkered. And Ross, I'm looking at that outside lane there. You got Cole Freilich, who's been so dominant all night. But right in his rearview mirror, you just can't seem to shake him. His championship rival from last season, William Schmidt, started 20th on the night, has found himself right on Freilich's back bumper. They were 2-1 in the championship last year. Now they're 1-2. Up on that outside lane. That's the one I'm going to have my eye on as we come around to get the green flag.
Yeah, we haven't really seen William Schmidt, front bumper to back bumper with Freilich at all tonight. So you kind of have to just, push the driver that's in front of you, especially on an overtime restart. So we'll see how that works. Where Isaac Johnson, we saw him on the bumper of Freilich that last run, maybe just waiting it out. Now he's going to start on this inside with McKee, his dancing partner, at least for this restart.
Johnson, McKee on the inside, Freilich, Schmidt on the outside. Green flag is back out. Who's going to have the edge when they get off into turn number 1? Johnson and McKee are going to be hooked up pretty well. Does Freilich come down and throw the block? He does not. Now Schmidt's going to get back to his back bumper here. They're going to be side by side. Woo, little contact when they head off into turn number 1. Drag race side by side through the turn.
Yeah, Isaac Johnson and Cade McKee kind of just almost running those guys up the hill. As Johnson's going to jump to the outside, but Freilich going to go to the middle and try to keep the lead.
What a heads-up move from Cole Freilich. Saw the block coming, immediately went to the middle where there was a gap. And now Johnson up in the outside wall, losing positions fast. And now there's a 3-car breakaway up at the top side here with Freilich, Schmidt, and Wilkerson now. 3 cars who we know have got a lot of speed. White flag this time. Can Freilich hold them off for 2.5 more miles?
That's going to be a big run here from Daniels in that 0-2. Wilkerson does a great job to kind of slow their momentum down, but ultimately going to break it up. Schmidt to the inside for the lead.
Textbook move from William Schmidt there on the bottom. A little bit of a bump from John Daniels. Now he goes back up to cover Cole Freilich perfectly, and he will hold serve there on the outside as the inside pairing of the 0-2 and the 20 starts to fade back. Now Freilich dives back to the bottom. That's Wilkerson does not elect to go with him now. It's going to bring that bottom side back to him. They're going to be side by side off of the corner. Who's going to have the edge? William Schmidt looks like he's going to have it. They're going to wreck back behind. William Schmidt's going to come home to claim the checkered flag, and I know that's the right call. There's no lap cars here.
I thought Wilkerson had a chance there. Ultimately, maybe a little bit of the momentum from the incident behind him kind of slowed him down enough. He had a chance there, just got to his outside, but not able to get past Schmidt in the end. Nice job by William Schmidt. We talked about it. Ran in the back, kind of even started back there and kind of stayed there. Maybe not by choice, but ultimately just the situation he was in until they got to racing a little bit more throughout the pack and was able to drive up there and kind of surprise us in the end, being one of those drivers to pull it off and grab the victory and kind of pick up where he left off this last season.
As a driver, you got to love when that strategy works out. And honestly, as a broadcaster too, for me, staying at the back, staying out of trouble, and then you just find your way towards the front. And it makes you feel just smarter than the field, honestly. You feel like you outsmarted everybody you fought by not fighting at all, right until you needed to, and that's what William Schmidt did to come home and claim the checkered in duel number 2. So he will start in position number 4 for next week's Speedway 200 next Thursday night.
Fun little battle from all the drivers in the back. I was just looking through some of these results. Well, I'll let you start off with this top 10 finishers in this second duel.
Let's run down our race results here. William Schmidt claims the checkered flag in duel number 2. He comes home your winner. Jacob Wilkerson, you saw that late move. Ross, he will come home in second. Just not enough time to get there to try and challenge for that win. Cade McKee, solid effort from him, comes home third. Emery Spence, we didn't talk about Emery pretty much at all tonight, but a solid effort brings home that car in the 4th position. Max Swearigan 5th, Isaac Johnson 6th, Spencer Ray 7th, Kendall Carpenter 8th, Caden Reif 9th, and in 10th is Michael Kruger.
I'm looking back at some of the results in the second half of this field. 11th was Mo Perry, 12th Dalton Geyer, 13th John Daniels, 14th Corey Rexford, 15th Harry Grindell. A lot of these drivers in the back ultimately either caught in some of those incidents towards the end, or ultimately coming home with a bad finish. We saw Freilich unfortunately fall towards the end there. He falls all the way to 20th. Last car in this race. So just a tough break for a guy that led a majority of this race.
That'll just about wrap it up here for us at Split Second Broadcasting. Thank you so much for joining our coverage of the duels at Daytona for the OSRL Premier Series. We will be back next week for the Speedway 200, where we will open the season officially for season number 10 of the OSRL Premier Series. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Hunter Brittle alongside Ross Brockman in the booth, Jeff Johnson behind the sticks. We will see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Good night.